Hello everyone, this is Shweta, Assistant Professor Public Administration, Government College D, Bharatpur. In this video today we are going to study about 73rd Constitutional Amendment in India. We will discuss about its historical background, various committees which have been made from time to time post independence, and its salient features. So we will start from evolution of Panchayati Raj institutions in India. The Panchayati Raj has always existed in India since ancient times. And this panchayat, this word, it means that it's a group of people, generally group of 5 people. Panch means 5. So they were involved in running local affairs at ground level. We can see some examples since ancient times, like in Vedic era, the word Panchayatan can be found in Sanskrit scriptures, which means a group of 5 persons. Then there is another example in Rig Veda, Sabha, Samiti and Vidhata. These kinds of words are mentioned as a unit of local self-governance. That means local government institutions existed at that time. Again, Kautilya's Arthashastra also talks of village panchayat. Yes, there is a mention of village panchayat in this book Arthashastra. Mauryan and post-Mauryan period also had the concept of headman, village headman, who was assisted by some prominent persons of village to run the local affairs for betterment of villagers. Then during Mughal period also local institutions were there, but they received a setback. Why? Because there was comparatively less autonomy in these kind of institutions. They were not democratically decentralized. The zamindars and the office of Kotwal were mainly dealt with the local issues, but these institutions were not up to the mark. Then it was scenario of ancient to medieval. Now we will focus on local self-governance during British period. Under British rule, local government institutions were there, but they lost their autonomy. They became weak. It is only after 1870 local self bodies were revived again. How they were revived? By Mayo's resolution of 1870. This could be termed as first resolution or first step, first effort which gave more power to local institutions, especially to municipal corporations, municipality, that means urban local bodies. Then after reviewing this Mayo's resolution, Lord Ripon also took one step further in form of 1882 resolution, that is considered to be Magna Carta of local democracy in India. So this decision was highly appreciated, and Lord Ripon has been considered the father of local government in India. The Royal Commission, again on decentralization in 1907, which was headed by CEH Hobhouse, it gave further impetus to strengthening process of local government. So these were the incidences or steps, we can say, which led to local self-governance institution on a democratic line. Then Government of India Act 1919, it transferred the subject of local government to the domains of provinces. That means provincial government were made responsible for carrying out the financial works like taxing or other works like this. They were assigned that they can do these works freely to some extent. Then we will discuss about the scenario post independence. After 1947, what was the position of PRIs, Panchayati Raj institutions in India? There have been various committees and commissions. They were made from time to time to recommend suggestions for the improvement of democratic decentralization in India. So basically here we will discuss 3 committees. First of all, Balwant Rai Mehta committee. which was made in January 1957. It was constituted to examine the working of community development program. Community development program, they were started in 1952. So this committee found that these programs were failed due to the lack of people's participation. So people's participation was much needed to run the local affairs or any kind of developmental program. So this committee recommended for Panchayati Raj system in India, especially three-tier Panchayati Raj system: Gram Panchayat at village level, Panchayat Samiti at block level, and Jila Parishad at district level. Another recommendation was district collector should be made the chairman of Jila Parishad. This committee emphasized the developmental role of district collector. Again, there was an important recommendation made by this committee, that was the Panchayat Samiti should be the executive body, while the Jila Parishad should be the advisory coordinating body. So Jila Parishad should be supervisory body and Panchayat Samiti should be executive body. This recommendation was given by Balwant Rai Mehta committee. So most of the recommendations were accepted by National Development Council in January 1958, and as a result, in Rajasthan, for the first time, in Nagaur district, on 2nd October 1959, Panchayati Raj institutions were established. Rajasthan was followed by Andhra Pradesh, which was adopted the system in 1959, and thereafter most of the states adopted this system. Then we will discuss about Ashok Mehta committee, which was made in December 1977. This committee recommended two-tier system of Panchayati Raj institutions. It is different from Balwant Rai Mehta committee in this context, that it said there should be Jila Parishad at district level and Mandal Panchayat consisting of a group of villages covering population of roughly 15,000 to 20,000. Then it differs from Balwant Rai Mehta committee in another context also. Like Balwant Rai Mehta committee says that Jila Parishad should be the advisory body, and Ashok Mehta committee said that Jila Parishad should be the executive body and Jila Parishad should be made responsible for planning at district level. This is the second difference between these two committees. Then Ashok Mehta committee recommended there should be an official participation of political parties at all levels of panchayat elections. Then these are the basic recommendation given by Ashok Mehta committee. Now we will discuss the most important committee, LM Singhvi. LM Singhvi committee, which was made on revitalization of Panchayati Raj institutions for democracy and development under the chairmanship of LM Singhvi. So it is the most important committee because for the first time any committee recommended constitutional status for Panchayati Raj institution. It recommended a new chapter should be added in Constitution of India because this constitutional status will make PRI's identity and integrity reasonably and substantially inviolate. So this was the most important recommendation given by LM Singhvi committee. Then Nyay Panchayats should be established for a cluster of villages or a group of villages. Next, Gram Sabha. Singhvi committee emphasized the role of Gram Sabha and called it as embodiment of direct democracy. So these three committees, Balwant Rai Mehta, Ashok Mehta and LM Singhvi committees gave their recommendations, and as a result, in the due process, 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1992 got the assent of President of India on 20th April 1993, and it came into force on 24th April 1993. So this was the date, 24th April 1993, when 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act came into force. It added Part 9 titled the Panchayats. This Part 9 contains articles from 243 to 243O with regards to Panchayati Raj institutions or rural local bodies. It also added 11th schedule with 29 items. This 73rd amendment, it has given a practical shape to Article 40 of the Constitution in DPSP, in Directive Principle of State Policy. That article envisages village panchayats and endow them with such powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as units of self-government. So, this amendment has given a practical shape to that article. Now, we will discuss about its salient features. First of all, Gram Sabha under Article 43A. This act mentioned Gram Sabha. What is Gram Sabha? It's a body of consisting of persons registered in electoral rolls of a village, comprised within the area of panchayat at village level. So, this is a village assembly, basically, assembly of registered voters in the area of panchayat. And this constitutional amendment, it says that it will exercise such powers and perform such functions at village level as the legislature of a state determines. So, role of Gram Sabha has become more prominent. Then three-tier system. There should be three-tier system, first at district level, then block level, and then village level. Then election of members and chairperson. This act provides an arrangement that there should be elected representative. All members of panchayat at village, intermediate and district level, they are elected directly by the people. But chairman of the panchayat at intermediate level and district level, they are elected indirectly. Okay, they are elected indirectly by and from amongst the elected members thereof. Then we come to reservation of seats under Article 243, reservation of seats for scheduled caste and scheduled tribes in every panchayat at all the three levels. And the reservation should be in proportion of their population to the total population in panchayat area. Right? Again I am saying this thing that reservation should be in proportion of their population to the total population in panchayat area. This act also provides for the reservation of not less than 1/3 of total number of seats for women, including the number of seats reserved for women belonging the SCs and STs. Then duration of panchayat would be 5 years, or if it is dissolved before the completion of its term, then fresh elections are to be completed before the expiry of its duration of 5 years. Then there is an article on State Election Commission 243K. So it says that superintendent's direction, control of preparation of electoral rolls and conduct of all elections to panchayat shall be vested in state election commissions. So state election commission will conduct the election to rural or urban local bodies. Now we are talking about rural local bodies. Then powers and function under Article 243G. Powers and functions are given. State legislature may endow the panchayat with such powers and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as institutions of self-government. That's why 29 matters are listed in 11th schedule. And these matters are related to the economic development or social justice of a particular area, especially rural local bodies. Then we will talk of Finance Commission. Article 243I, Governor of the state shall after every 5 years constitute a finance commission to review financial position of the panchayats with regards to distribution between state and the panchayat of net proceeds of taxes, duties and tolls and other things. Then grant in aid to the panchayat from consolidated fund of the state. This is important thing, consolidated fund of the state, not consolidated fund of India. Grant in aid should be given from consolidated fund of the states. So these are the basic features of 73rd Constitutional Amendment Act, which has given constitutional status to rural local bodies, that is Panchayati Raj institutions in India. This specific amendment has strengthened the democratic decentralization in India, especially in rural area. So it's all about for this video. In the next video we will study further. Thank you.